Although the election day in the United States is November 5th, early voting in every state in the United States is already in full swing. And this week, two key swing states that open early voting: Georgia and North Carolina. Early voting has broken all-time records. North Carolina began its first day of voting on Thursday. More than 350,000 people voted. This is higher than the all-time record set in 2020 by 1.3 percentage points, although it is only slightly higher. North Carolina, it's an area that has just been severely damaged by a hurricane. But even in the 25 disaster-stricken counties, and it didn't affect the vote that much. A total of 76 polling stations were opened. The original in the disaster plan for area. Gold coins was reduced by 4. And Georgia. In fact, it was also a state that was hit by Hurricane Helene. On this Tuesday, Georgia begins early voting, and as a result, it's going strong. A record-breaking 320,000 voted on the first day, more than double from 2020. And what about in the next few days? This trend has not weakened in the slightest. Currently, Georgia, more than 1 million voters have cast ballots. The two biggest questions you might have are: why are American voters so motivated this year? Record-breaking early voting. Is it good for Harris or good for Trump? What's next? Let's talk about these two issues. The 2024 U.S. election will be full of twists and turns. From Biden dropping out to Harris taking over. Then Trump was assassinated more than once. This has brought attention to this year's U.S. election. It's unprecedented. It also led to greater voter participation in the United States. And second, early voting actually has a lot of advantages. Like it's more convenient, more flexibility to avoid polling day on November 5th. In the cold wind, there was a long queue. Let me tell you a cold news. The election day in the United States is not a holiday, so most people, in fact, only before going to work, to vote have to get off work or during lunchtime. If it's a busy day, that might be too much trouble not to vote. And this year's election, both candidates refer to him as key elections that will determine America's future. The definition of election elevated to a historical level. It will also encourage more voters to participate in the voting process. But not both camps are saying the high early turnout is in their favor. For Trump, how many favorable signals are there? Respectively, early voting in North Carolina revealed the number of Democratic and Republican voters is similar. Then this is compared to 2020. There has been a huge change. 4 years ago, Democrats voted on the first day of early voting completed. In addition, according to the latest poll from Harvard, early voting in the 7 major swing states, Trump's approval rating reached 48%, 1 percentage point higher than Harris. As of the 18th, 8.40 million Americans voted early, including 4.50 million Democrats and 3.10 million Republicans. However, Democrats already have more voters than Republicans. More support for early voting. Therefore, some experts say, don't worry about early voting data. Over-interpretation. Despite this, Democrats are still reeling from strong turnout. Gain confidence in this election. From historical experience, elections with high voter turnout are better for Democrats. Elections with low voter turnout are better for Republicans. Democrats typically rely more on younger voters, minority, and voter turnout among these groups tends to be lower. So if the number of participants is high, which means that these usually have lower voter turnout, they were very active in the voting. And what about the Republican voter base? It's more stable, mainly concentrated in white older people, groups in rural areas, etc. Even though their overall turnout was low, however, their votes are guaranteed. However, judging from the current voting enthusiasm, so 2024 American college turnout is on track to break records.